The penthouse smelled like money. Amina Lawal ran her fingers along the marble kitchen countertop, her designer heels clicking against imported Italian tiles. At 28, she'd just been promoted to vice president at First Continental Bank, the youngest in the company's history, and this apartment in Maitama's most exclusive complex was her reward to herself. 3 bedrooms, smart home system, 24/7 power backup, the realtor droned on. And for just 12 million naira annually. It's a steal. Amina frowned. Apartments in this neighborhood went for triple that price. Why so cheap? The realtor's smile didn't reach his eyes. The previous tenant relocated suddenly. Family emergency. She tilted her head but said nothing. This was the type of place she'd dreamed of since leaving Kaduna for university, a place that said she had arrived. That evening, as movers hauled in her furniture, an elderly neighbor peered from across the hall. Her wrapper hung loose on her frail frame, her gray hair tied in a threadbare scarf. "Are you the new neighbor?" Her voice rasped like dry leaves. "Yes, Ma. Amina Lawal." The woman's eyes darkened. "I am Mrs. Nkechi. Welcome, but be careful when night comes." Before Amina could ask what she meant, the old woman retreated into her flat. It happened 1 week after she moved in. Amina found herself standing in her own bedroom, except it wasn't hers. Floral wallpaper peeled at the edges, a rotary telephone sat on the nightstand, and the air smelled faintly of cigarette smoke and Chanel No. 5. A woman in a white wedding gown stood before the mirror, back turned. When she turned, half of her face was caved in, bone fragments pushing through torn flesh. "You're living in my grave," the bride whispered. Amina woke screaming, heart hammering, sheets drenched in sweat. The dreams didn't stop. They came night after night, growing worse. Sometimes the bride sat on her bed, brushing her hair with bloody fingers. Sometimes she stood at the foot of the bed, veil fluttering in an invisible wind. On the 5th morning, her colleague Safia cornered her at the office cafeteria. "Babe, you look like you fought with a blender," Safia said, handing her coffee. Amina forced a smile. "Just nightmares." "What kind?" Amina hesitated. "A woman in a wedding dress. Her head, it's broken. And she keeps saying I'm living in her grave." Safia blinked. "That's not normal. We should see my imam, Maulam Idris." Maulam Idris's mosque sat in a quiet corner of Wuz. The elderly imam studied Amina carefully as she described her experiences. "Dreams can be messages," he said, stroking his gray beard. "But what you describe is no ordinary dream. There is a restless spirit where you sleep." Amina shivered. "A ghost?" The imam nodded slowly. "Whoever has lived there before knows of it. Someone close by. An old woman ridden by guilt." Amina gasped. "It has to be my neighbor, Mrs. Nkechi." It took 3 days before Amina gathered the courage to knock on Mrs. Nkechi's door. Inside, surrounded by framed photos of a younger self and a boy in NYSC uniform, the old woman listened quietly. 1985, Mrs. Nkechi began, voice trembling. "I was a house help for the Akindele family. Their daughter Funmi was to marry Emeka Okoro. Big wedding. But that night..." The wedding party roared downstairs as Funmi Akindele adjusted her pearl necklace in the master bedroom, this same penthouse, before renovations. This was the penthouse they were to spend their honeymoon. From the ensuite bathroom came Emeka's lowered voice. "Don't worry, darling. Once we're married, her father's money becomes mine as well. Then we can be together properly." Funmi walked in a fit of rage. You're marrying me for money, Emeka?" His face hardened. "Funmi, it's not." Her screams cut him off. He shoved her. Her temple hit the nearby glass coffee table with a sickening crack. Mrs. Nkechi found them an hour later, Emeka sobbing, muttering, "She slipped. She slipped and fell." They buried the truth, Mrs. Nkechi spat in the present. Emeka's father paid off the police. Called it an accident. 3 months later, Funmi's parents died in a car crash. He inherited everything. Emeka Okoro had grown up believing power belonged to men who took it, not men who earned it. His father, Chief Barnabas Okoro, had drilled that into him from the time he was 10. Chief Okoro wasn't just a businessman, he was the kind of man people whispered about in smoky beer parlors. A man who had friends in government and enemies who disappeared without explanation. "Marry well, Emeka," Chief Okoro would say, puffing on a thick Havana cigar, the smoke curling like a serpent around his bald head. "Love is for the poor. Marriage is for profit." By 22, Emeka was already the charming young man every Lagos party hostess wanted at her table. He learned to laugh at the right jokes, dance just enough to be seen, and listen just enough to seem sincere. But he also had Chioma. Chioma had been his secret since university, a girl from Ajugunle with curves he couldn't forget and eyes that saw him as a god. She lived in a cramped single room with corrugated roofing and a perpetually leaking sink, dreaming of the day Emeka would marry her. Instead, he met Funmi Akindele. He saw her first at the Lagos Polo Club, sunlight catching the gold chain on her neck as she laughed, surrounded by society's elite. She was the only child of industrialist Chief Akindele, a man whose company supplied half of Nigeria's construction steel. Emeka studied her for months, where she shopped, what charities she attended, what wines she liked. When he finally approached her, it was accidental, a bumped shoulder at an art gallery in Victoria Island. "You again," Funmi teased after their third chance encounter, a dimple deepening on her cheek. By their 6th meeting, he had her number. By their 10th, she was his. Chief Okoro approved. The wedding was extravagant, ivory lace imported from Paris, 400 guests, senators and governors in attendance. The terrifying dreams had begun almost immediately after he killed her, Funmi standing by their old bathtub, her skull cracked, whispering his name. After Chief Okoro died suddenly a year later, Emeka panicked. Desperate, he sought out a renowned juju man from Port Harcourt who specialized in spirit binding. The ritual involved black goats, iron chains, and their burial in the penthouse walls. For years, it worked. 2 years after Funmi's death, Emeka married Chioma. Their first child was stillborn. So was the second. After the 5th loss, Chioma fell into depression and alcohol. Emeka began sleeping with younger women, desperate for an heir. None ever conceived. Rumors circulated in political circles, but Emeka's image remained intact, wealthy, powerful, untouchable. Amina couldn't shake the image of Funmi's broken face. She almost moved out but stopped herself. If Funmi is reaching out, she wants justice. Through her work connections, Amina discovered Emeka's habits and arranged an accidental meeting at the Aso Rock Gala. She deliberately spilled champagne on his agbada. "Ah, Senator, I'm so sorry." He laughed, eyes sliding down her dress. "It's nothing. Perhaps I can take you to dinner, to make up for it." Amina smiled. "Actually, I have the perfect place." The penthouse door creaked open as Emeka stepped inside, scanning the lavish interior. "Something wrong, Senator?" Amina purred, pouring Dom Perignon, Funmi's favorite. His brow furrowed. "This building feels familiar." When he turned back, Amina was gone. Midnight struck. The lights flickered. The room transformed, 1985 decor, shattered wedding portrait reforming above the fireplace. Emeka's breath hitched. "No, this can't be." The bathroom door creaked open. Funmi stepped out, blood dripping from her skull wound. "You remember this, don't you?" she whispered. The bathtub faucets burst open, water running scarlet. Emeka fell to his knees, weeping as visions of his dead infants and Funmi's broken face surrounded him. Funmi reached for him, her fingers icy on his cheek. You took everything from me, she said. Tonight, I take everything from you. Hands, pale, tiny, like those of newborns, gripped his ankles and dragged him toward the tub. His scream echoed through the apartment as the lights exploded into darkness. The newspapers called it a tragedy. Senator Okoro found dead in a Maitama hotel. Apparent heart attack. Amina moved out weeks later but often dreamed of Funmi smiling, whole, healed, walking into light. The penthouse went on the market again. 6 months later, a young couple toured it. It's perfect, the wife said happily, while the groom grinned. Neither noticed the cold spot where a glass table once stood. The end. If you enjoyed this chilling tale of revenge, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories.